What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of the 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below. Thanks for being here, guys, to the best gaming related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Counter-Strike and this franchise, past, present, and what we could see potentially in the future. And I want to talk, guys, in this segment of the show about a Counter-Strike sequel. It's something I've talked about a number of times on the YouTube channel that I feel would really help Counter-Strike move forward, the next generation of gaming. Sure, there's so much nostalgia to CSGO and you know, Global Offensive as a whole, but I felt for a long time that CSGO, even though it's got a lot of viewership and the competitive scene is great, I still felt that there's a need for updates consistently on CSGO or just a sequel to Counter-Strike. That being in the form of, you know, new maps, the form of better graphics and things of that nature that I think could really move CSGO forward, or just Counter-Strike as a franchise. And so I want to talk about everything that we know about a potential Counter-Strike sequel. There's been a lot of rumblings that there could potentially be another CS title at some point in the foreseeable future. We're going to break those things down and talk about it here, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So guys, Counter-Strike Global Offensive obviously came out in 2012, and this is a title that, you know, when we look at the grand landscape of first-person shooters, one of the most influential first-person shooters in history, and I don't think there's any debate about that. That being said, though, it's since 2012, right? And so when we think about Valve and how there's a lot of titles that we look at that they've worked on or have created these iconic stories, multiplayer experiences, and to be honest, it's felt that Valve has kind of really just let their pedal off the gas, or let their foot off the gas, so to speak. That being said, you know, we look at titles like Left 4 Dead, you know, there's been a massive fan base that is wanted to see, you know, a continuation of the Left 4 Dead franchise, and of course Valve seemed to totally just stay silent, not be working on anything. At least, you know, nothing publicly has come out saying that they are going to work on a Left 4 Dead sequel in the foreseeable future. And now we have Back 4 Blood coming out from Turtle Rock Studios to obviously be a spiritual successor to none other than, you know, Left 4 Dead. We also see titles like Valorant coming out from Riot Games. These guys are definitely trying to compete against a title like CSGO and be a spiritual successor to CSGO. And so now we see two IPs that are under significant pressure from other titles coming out. So what could a Counter-Strike Global Offensive 2 look like? What could that potentially be, or a sequel, a Counter-Strike, you know, continuation? I think that it would obviously be massive. Being free to play would be huge. Having just a new variety, whether it's different weapons, whatever the case might be, keep it grounded in Counter-Strike, but I feel that there's definitely a lot of possibility here for Valve to make something really, really special. Now, are they going to do it? That's another question that we have to try to answer. There's an article written, guys, by Albert Chang of Win, why Valve is likely to forego CSGO sequel to focus on Source 2 engine update. Between varied evidence found in the game's updates and the logic behind the potential move, it is becoming increasingly clear that Valve will be bringing Counter-Strike Global Offensive to its Source 2 engine. The move only makes sense for Valve. Creating an entirely new entry in the venerable Counter-Strike franchise would break up the game's current base of players. This was a problem previously seen when player counts were split between Counter-Strike 1.6 and Counter-Strike Source. So I totally get that you know, concept that you don't want to split up the fan base, right? But if you had a continuation, I think it continues to build upon the legacy, the lore, the story, the experience, the competitive play of Counter-Strike, right? I mean, look at titles like StarCraft. You have StarCraft 2, which is one of the most iconic real-time strategy games of all time, and it's felt that Blizzard was pretty complacent with just having StarCraft 2. The community became so complacent around StarCraft 2, and I feel like it's hurt it, because over time, StarCraft used to be at the top of esports has slowly but surely fallen. Sure, there's still a huge fan base around it, but at the same time, it has fallen in popularity. The same thing I'm concerned about happening to Counter-Strike at some point or another, just because of the competition that's out there now. Valorant is becoming massive, and we see all these free-to-play games that are still trying to take a lot of those players away from Counter-Strike. And so a continuation of this franchise, I believe, would be the best move forward for Valve. It would show that they care. Sure, bringing it to a Source 2 is great, right? I mean, maybe they could update the graphics from that. They could update certain things from Source 2. However, I still feel that if you don't have a continuation, kind of like what Blizzard's doing with Overwatch, having a sequel to Overwatch, the first one, they could have easily just continued to pour resources into the first Overwatch, but instead they're going into Overwatch 2 to expand upon the legacy, lore, story, multiplayer, and things of that nature, and I think Counter-Strike could very well and should do the same. It's just become, obviously one of the most iconic titles in esports, in gaming as a whole for first-person shooters. But we don't see titles like Call of Duty being complacent. They're coming out with a new COD every single year. Not saying that Valve needs to do that with Counter-Strike, but I do think it is time to start moving in a direction of, continuing that legacy. So there are also many different companies or websites that offer all kinds of gambling opportunities linked specifically to CSGO. This is part of the reason why players will not easily let go anytime soon. Esports has grown hand in hand with the online gambling. Some operators are even offering real money, such as this Canada casino bonus to participating players. This sort of change could be hugely beneficial to CSGO, freshening up the game with a visual overhaul, could even help to address feelings of burnout that some longtime players may be experiencing. So even pro players are not exempt to these feelings. Olofmeister recently announced a formal break from the game, and multiple Astralis players have stepped back from active play. All this in spite of these players being at the very top of the game's pro scene. Now, let's talk about that for a second. The pro scene is huge, guys, when we talk about CSGO. However, I've got to say, Counter-Strike has started to kind of wear when it comes to the competitive scene, because these players aren't really able to enjoy and appreciate all the wins they're getting, because it's like a new tournament every single week. It's called, what could be massive burnout, and it's really hard to follow the competitive scene because there's new tournaments almost every single weekend. And so it reminds you a little bit of maybe like the UFC. The UFC is trying to have so many different fights, and so it's hard to almost keep up with. The same thing is said here with CS. That's why a Counter-Strike 2 or a Counter-Strike Global Offensive 2 could be something massive. I believe that they could reshape how they do the competitive scene. Obviously, the updated graphics, which they could, of course, do with Source 2, but there's still so much opportunity, I believe, long-term for Counter-Strike Global Offensive 2, or just a Counter-Strike sequel, to be something really special, not only from the standpoint of just competitive play, but from an entire landscape of Counter-Strike, and really reclaim its the throne of being the top first-person shooter esport in the world, which a lot of people still say it is, but there's certainly other titles that are coming into the fray that are certainly taking viewership away from Counter-Strike. Obviously, guys, there's also new competition from Riot Games' first-person shooter Valorant. We already talked about this. Some semi-pro players and teams have already transitioned to the new title in hopes of pursuing a professional career beyond CSGO. Valve may be launching CSGO and Source 2 in part as a response to this renewed competition. And I do think that that is something that's very true. CSGO, I think Valve may be doing this in part to the response, and maybe they're going to be working on a Left 4 Dead to compete against Back 4 Blood. But that being said, they're a little bit behind, right? Valorant is now really trying to, take leaps and bounds to kind of lure a lot of those players away from CSGO. And we can obviously see that in a major way. CSGO moving to Source 2 would absolutely bring a variety of technical improvements with it. Overall performance would be better, and the new engine might also play better with people's computers. Even gameplay could be improved in the new engine. And I gotta say, guys, I agree. It certainly could help. I think a direct continuation, though, would bring back all the old players. but I think it would really bring a lot of new people into the fray to actually start at least trying it out, especially if it was free. Counter-Strike is a proven formula, and Valve is significantly committed itself to the success of CSGO. So, that being said, I do think that Valve cares about CSGO, but I feel like now with this renewed competition that's there, since there wasn't much competition there for quite some time when we talk about the esports scene, now with other games coming and really starting to look like they're going to dominate the scene, I think Valve is starting to realize they need to start, making changes, and I think a CSGO 2 would be a great place to start. But that's my opinion. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about a CSGO 2, CSGO with Source 2? What do you guys think? Let me know. And for more Counter-Strike content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Warhammer 40,000 Darktide, the upcoming title, guys, in this franchise. And I want to talk about everything that we want out of this title, from, everything from the multiplayer to the campaign to everything that this game could very well encompass. I want to talk about everything that we want. When I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions here. Some of you may share similar opinions, some of you may not. I would love to hear what you guys want to see in Warhammer 40,000 Darktide in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So, guys, I'm going to be giving you the top 5 things that I want to see in Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. And first of all, this is a title that's going to be coming out in 2022 at some point or another. It's been delayed a little bit, obviously because of the pandemic. But that being said, at number 1 for me, and this is really goes without question, I really want to see an emphasis on a full package for Warhammer 40k Darktide. This is a title, guys, that's being kind of promoted as a multiplayer experience where you go up against waves and waves of enemies, but it sounds like there's still going to be a story and things of that nature. So when I say full package, I mean campaign, multiplayer, and co-op modes. All 3 of those things really justify a $60 price tag or whatever this game gets priced out to be. That being said, I really would love to see a multitude of ways that we can connect with this title, because after you play the single player story, you may move on to other games, but having multiplayer is going to bring you back to the experience over and over again. The same thing with co-op. If you're going up against waves and waves of enemies, that reminds me of Gears of War's Horde mode, and that's something I think could be really special as well, where there's PvE, PvP elements to it. Would be absolutely awesome. That leads me to number 2, guys. At number 2, I really want to see free-to-play elements of this title as well. Even though I want a full package, I'd love to see a couple of those elements being free to play. Whether it's the multiplayer, so it lures more people to at least give the game a try, whether it's single player story, the co-op modes has, free to play elements to it that, is at least going to get people to want to try the game out, and that can obviously help build fan bases in a major way. Then for me, guys, at number 3, I really want to see this Warhammer 40k be different but have similarities to the Warhammer 40k universe. So I would love to see, some similarities, obviously with characters and things of that nature, but I also want to see those differences that I think are, really important as well for a Warhammer 40k title. You want to have things that feel familiar, but you also want there to be similarities so it doesn't feel like a copy and paste. And that leads me, guys, into number 4. And this is where I just really want to see Darktide be a title that stays, to itself and is itself, as in from the standpoint of not trying to copy other titles, not trying to, take elements from other games and seeing what other games have done and try to do that themselves. I love it when games are innovative in a major way, where they're trying to kind of stand out, be totally different from other titles in the space. And Darktide certainly has some horror elements to it and things of that nature, action elements. All of those things make it very intriguing and exciting, but I don't want them to take things that are, being utilized a lot in games like The Last of Us or Rainbow Six, and Extraction that's going to be coming out, and Back 4 Blood and all these other titles. I really want them to be themselves. And that leads me, guys, into number 5. This is really important to me. I want to see a lot of variety of the characters. I want to see a lot of variety with enemies, weapons, locations. I want there to be a lot of variety here so that it keeps everything fresh. And And that kind of leads us to also having consistent updates, having things that if there's issues that are, along the journey of Warhammer 40K Darktide, those are addressed immediately so that it doesn't hurt or, put a bad stigma on the reputation of the title and starts making players, leave the title for other games. I want there to be consistent updates so that people stay a part of this title, because I'm really excited about the future of this game as well and where this could be leading. This could very well be one of the best titles in the franchise, and I just want them to really knock it out of the park and stay on top of any bugs, glitches, things of that nature, so that it really doesn't tamper the experience whatsoever. But those are the 5 things that I really want to see out of Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. What do you guys want to see? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Warhammer 40K Darktide content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked about GTA 6 and this game as a whole and what it could encompass and the excitement around the upcoming title, whenever it's going to be announced and what it could possibly all be. And I want to talk about where we stand, guys, with Grand Theft Auto 6, the upcoming title that hasn't been announced yet, but there's been a lot of rumblings, a lot of rumors, leaks, and things of that nature. I want to break it down as to where we are right now and what we could expect here in the future. So let's get into it. So, guys, in an article written by Tom Senior of PC Gamer, GTA 6 isn't confirmed, but the clues and rumors are getting more believable every year. Is there any chance we'll get word on GTA 6 in 2021? It seems pretty unlikely since Rockstar hasn't even confirmed its existence. An announcement is likely the most we can hope for this year, if anything. Now that 2021 summer showcases have come and gone, it's probably time to think about hunkering down until 2022 for Rockstar to make any official mention of the next GTA series game. That said, just because Rockstar isn't talking about GTA 6 doesn't mean that plenty of other people aren't. Now, what I'll say about this is, even though we haven't heard an announcement from Rockstar about GTA 6, I still think there's a possibility that we could hear about it here in 2021, guys. Rockstar seems to be one of those companies that kind of doesn't do things the way that a lot of other companies do, right? A lot of other development teams. They kind of will just release announcements randomly at different times, and that's just what makes Rockstar really special. They really like to kind of have their own set of time where they can have announcements. Not when everybody else is doing announcements. They like doing them on their own, so it really stands out. Rockstar's got a very interesting reputation for that. Rockstar's recent history shows that it has a habit of releasing its bigger games 4 to 5 years apart. If that trend continues, we might expect to see GTA 6 released somewhere around 2022 or 2023, though of course that assumes that Rockstar's next big game is indeed GTA 6. Take-Two's recent quarterly earnings revealing that GTA 5 Online is still a big earner for the company, so it would seem odd if there wasn't another GTA game planned somewhere down the line. And I got to agree, guys. I mean, for them not to be at least working on a GTA 6, which I do believe that they are absolutely working on, outside of that title, I would say the other 2 titles that they may be working on would be a Max Payne 4 or an LA Noire 2, something of that nature, a Bully sequel maybe, but GTA is obviously the biggest here, and, their biggest title by far. Red Dead Redemption is obviously big as well, but that being said, the GTA 6, here's kind of what we know so far. The release date is a total mystery right now, but don't expect it for multiple years, and I got to agree. It'll probably be a number of years down the road, guys. The location and setting, the most credible rumors currently point to a Vice City return, which I think would be awesome. When could the release date be? Then that's what so many people are wanting to know. We're certainly a long way off guessing dates at this stage, but we might be able to start trying to pinpoint a year at least. An SEC filing by Rockstar's parent company Take-Two from 2020 claims that they're planning a huge spike in advertising spending during the fiscal year 2024 for a total of almost $90 million. Not many games in T2's stable would call in that kind of cash. It's the type of figure you'd expect for their next huge release. A T2 representative has since told Games Industry Biz that the marketing spike is related to third-party companies, not an internal studio like Rockstar. The newest round round of rumors about GTA 6's release date, backed by multiple journalists, suggests that a 2023 launch is probably premature. Their guesses suggest that a 2024 or 2025 launch is more likely. Part of what might be pushing GTA 6 into further off years is Rockstar's efforts to combat crunch culture, which has plagued its past launches, notably towards the end of development on Red Dead Redemption 2. So, yes, Rockstar does have a reputation of crunch time, which obviously, guys, overworking their employees and things of that nature. So, with that being said, GTA 6 could be something really, really special, guys, and I'm very excited about what this title could very well be when it does come out. Rockstar certainly has a reputation of, the crunch time, but they also have a reputation of creating some of the most iconic titles out there ever that we could probably, talk about for days upon days, years upon years, guys. They have so many really iconic titles, and they take their time, release games, and when they come out, they're critically acclaimed by everyone. And it's a pretty awesome ordeal, but Rockstar very well may be trying to change that culture to away from the whole crunch time ordeal. So, will GTA 6 come to PC? So, it's a pretty solid bet. Rockstar's past with PC versions has been a bit erratic, but the immense popularity of both GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC is a great reason for Rockstar to take the platform seriously. I 100% agree. Now, the setting, a lot of people are really talking about this. Beyond a release date, the most important thing we want to know is where and when GTA 6 will be set. Everything flows from Rockstar's choice of city and decade. GTA 5's return to Los Angeles sets us up for a possible return to Vice City. In an interview with Develop in 2013, president of Rockstar North Leslie Benzies referred again to Rockstar's trifecta of preferred GTA cities. We don't know what GTA 6 will be, but we've got some ideas. We've got about 45 years worth of ideas we want to do. We'll pick the right ones. It comes from the idea first. Where it is going to be set is the first question. That then defines the missions. You're doing different things in LA than in New York or Miami. The map and story get worked up together, and the story is a basic flow of how it works out so you can layer the mission in. Rumors from July 2021, backed up by a few different sources, point to GTA 6 returning to Vice City. These claims say that GTA 6 will take place in a modern-day version of the series analog from Miami. These same predictions also say that GTA 6's map will evolve or expand over time, possibly through DLC or live game updates. With GTA 5's return to LA, it would make enough sense for GTA 6 to be set in Miami. We'll have to wait and see, but the multiple sources backing up the Miami rumors make it the most believable we've seen after years and years of speculation. So Vice City, to me, guys, I think would be a great place to kind of return to. If they don't do Vice City, I would prefer them actually doing something totally new. I think always keeping it fresh is really important. If they went back to Vice City, I think it's been a little while since Vice City was released, and I think that a return to that and, kind of revamped in a, modern day version of it would be really awesome. So I think Vice City makes a lot of sense, but if they didn't do Vice City, I'd like it to be something totally new. So, will there be a GTA 6 online? GTA 5's online Los Santos has yet to run out of gas. Rockstar is still regularly adding new activities, content, and events to its big multiplayer world. Given that GTA 4, GTA 5, and both Red Dead Redemption games have had online servers, it feels like a must-have for GTA 6. Yes, absolutely. They're going to want to keep a full package, guys, with multiplayer, co-op, single player. All of that is what really helps make GTA. So, there's a lot of GTA 6 rumors out there, guys. There have been more fairly spurious rumors around GTA 6. The Nose cites an inside source that puts the GTA 6 release date as 2021-2022. The rumor suggests that the new game will be spread between Vice City and South America. A Wild Christian Today rumor roundup guesses at a 60s London setting and time travel. Comic Book gave credence to an anonymous since removed Pastebin post claiming that GTA 6 will feature multiple big cities connected by a vast stretch of land featuring smaller towns. In this version, the player starts out as a small crook and ends up running a drug-running criminal operation, which is a really interesting concept in my opinion as well. But I think, guys, as far as the date is concerned, I would bet that we're going to see it not in 2022. It'll probably be 2023, 2024, or even 2025. I just don't know if it's, since we haven't heard anything about it, the fact of the matter is once they give us the initial teaser, it still could be years away. So they might give us a teaser this year or even next year, and it still could be 2-3 years away, similar to like Elder Scrolls 6. With that anonymous Reddit post, oddly cites one of our writers as a source. That post suggests that GTA 6 is codenamed Project Americas, we said in Vice City, and a new city based on Rio de Janeiro. It's rumored to be set between 1970 and 1980, and the main character is mixed up with the drug trade. The game may feature drug empire mechanics inspired by Vice City. So that's pretty awesome, right? This rumor claims that Netflix's Narcos is a major inspiration, and your car will behave like Red Dead Redemption 2's horse, in that it serves a mobile storage as well as transport. Visually, the game will be more stylized than the photorealistic Red Dead Redemption 2, and characters will speak in their native language with subtitles, which is a really interesting concept as well. And we know, guys, from GTA 5 and the success of GTA 5, GTA 6, guys, is all but confirmed at this point in time. So it's definitely coming somewhere down the road. But when is it going to get announced? And then when are we going to be able to get our hands on it? Right now, guys, it's really tough to say. But I would say that we're probably at least 3 to 4 years away from the release of the title. We're probably 6 months to a year away from an official teaser trailer, something of that nature, to confirm its existence. But I'll be sure to give you guys more information as it comes out for GTA 6. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for all GTA 6 content, guys, and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was a title, guys, that I absolutely loved, and I thought it was the best Star Wars game made to date. I gotta tell you that I love the Star Wars Unleashed titles. I thought those were really awesome, but Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order had some really special elements to that story, and there's a lot, guys, that I'm anticipating for the continuation or the sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So I want to talk about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 and everything that we want out of that title. Because no game is perfect, and there's certainly going to be elements to it that we want to see, improved upon for the continuation. So let's talk about it, guys. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about what you would want to see in a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order in the comment section down below. So I'll give you 5 things, guys, that I really want to see. And at number 1 is really important. I want to see a full package from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. So when I say that, guys, I mean multiplayer, single-player co-op modes. Having all 3 of those things are really important because after beating Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, just for me personally, I moved on to other games. But if you have multiplayer, if you have co-op, it's going to bring you back to the title over and over again. And I think that's really, really important. If you didn't do it in the form of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, maybe having a Star Wars Online mode where it's consistently updated over time, similar to GTA Online, Red Dead Online, Elder Scrolls Online, where you're able to be in that universe and it's consistently updated, that would be absolutely awesome. But I just think a full package brings you back to the experience over and over again. That leads me to number 2, guys, and I want to put a lot of emphasis on the multiplayer side of this. The story of Jedi Fallen Order was awesome, and it sold really well as well, but there was like a real, huge following of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order that wanted there to be multiplayer. And why is that? Well, obviously, the most recent, Star Wars multiplayer experience we have was Star Wars Battlefront 2, and that was riddled with microtransactions and problems from the very beginning, and so that's the closest thing that we have. So if you're a massive Star Wars fan after beating Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order a couple of times, you probably moved on to either other games or you went backwards to Star Wars Battlefront 2 to play the multiplayer modes. And obviously that experience is nothing compared to what Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, could have been as far as from a multiplayer perspective. So multiplayer is so crucial, in my opinion, for the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. And at number 3, guys, I'd love to see some free-to-play elements to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2, that being whether it's multiplayer, like a Star Wars Online or, Jedi Fallen Order 2 online mode, whether it's co-op modes or the single-player stories free-to-play, something to lure more people in to at least give the game a try, and then if they love it, then they might just buy the full version, or, hey, maybe the whole game is free-to-play, and then microtransactions are justified because it's free-to-play, kind of like Fortnite and Warzone and games of that nature. So I'd love to see some free-to-play elements. And coming in, guys, at number 4 for me, I would love to see a lot of variety with this title, that being in the form of, having similarities, but those differences. So having similar characters from Jedi Fallen Order 1, similar enemies and things of that nature, but changing it up in the second one, having new enemies, new characters that you're coming in contact with, new locations. The Star Wars universe is so massive, so having new locations that you're going to are absolutely be awesome, and really expanding upon the legacy lore story of Star Wars as a whole, but also Jedi Fallen Order. And coming in, guys, for me at number 5, one of the biggest issues I had with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 1 were the bugs, the glitches, and things of that nature within that title. And I gotta tell you, it really hurt the experience at certain times. The game would freeze up, and then you'd have to start that, entire mission over again. For me, I think constant updates from the very beginning would be massive for this title, where you're having consistent updates, whether it's from a multiplayer perspective, co-op, single player, always having updates to fix the bugs, glitches, all of those things would be, would make the experience so much better if they were on top of it, being the developers and such, on top of those updates to fix any glitches or bugs before they become a real issue and start turning people away from the title. Those are the 5 things that I really want to see moving into Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2. What do you want to see? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked a lot on the YouTube channel about GTA and the continuation of this franchise in the form of Grand Theft Auto 6, and you guys can check out all of that content here on the YouTube channel. What I want to talk about in this segment of the show is about GTA 6 and its whereabouts. Where is this title at this point, and when could we very well see it in the future? So let's talk about it. So GTA 6, guys, I've gotten a lot of people asking me, whether it's on social media, on the YouTube channel, where's GTA 6? Are there any updates and things of that nature? And guys, there are a ton of leaks. There's a lot of rumors and rumblings of what this game could all entail and when it could be coming out. So let's talk about it here. So where's GTA 6? Well, guys, I believe that is definitely, even though it hasn't been confirmed, it's all but been confirmed by Rockstar that this title is in existence, that it is actually being worked on pretty heavily and has been worked on for quite a number of years. To me, though, GTA 6 is certainly in development, and I believe that it's going to be coming out at some time in the foreseeable future, but that foreseeable future very well could be in the next number of years. Could be something similar to an Elder Scrolls 6, so we get maybe a teaser trailer later this year in 2021, potentially 2022, and then we might be 2 to 3 years after that initial teaser trailer until the game officially comes out. Lots of the rumors, guys, are stating that this title is going to be based around Vice City or a completely new area. There's been talk of LA. There's been a lot of rumblings, right, of when the time period and what this all could encompass. Time travel has been brought up a number of times as well. But that being said, I think the biggest thing is, where is the title? I believe that we will see a reveal trailer, even a teaser later this year in 2021 or in 2022. And then from there, we'll probably be able to have a better idea of when this title is going to come out. And I would say we're probably going to be 2 to 3 years away after that initial release. So we're probably looking at 2024 to 2025 is probably when this title is going to come out. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Rockstar has a very different way of showing off their titles or, announcing their titles. They don't go, they kind of go away from the crowd, right? So a lot of other titles have certain, time frames of when they're going to announce their titles. Usually the summer, the spring is when a lot of these big, companies like EA and, of course, Activision and all these companies really start showing off their titles, whereas Rockstar kind of goes away from the crowd. They just will randomly drop snippets and sneak peeks and teasers whenever they want and whenever they feel that they want to do it, and kind of they want to be alone when they're making those announcements, so all the attention is just on them and not on a number of different companies. So they have certainly a different way of their announcements and things of that nature, which really makes Rockstar a pretty special company in my opinion, because they come out with some very good titles and definitely worth the wait. So GTA, guys, I do believe is being worked on pretty heavily. The other option is could, GTA not be the next title that's going to be coming out from Rockstar? Could it be Max Payne 4, which we talked a lot about on the YouTube channel, LA Noire 2, Bully 2? I do think that they could be working on a number of these titles all at once. I would say, though, GTA 6 is probably going to be the next game coming out, and then maybe a Max Payne 4, LA Noire 2. Bully 2 has been through development hell, so I don't know if that's going to be coming out at any time in the foreseeable future. I think it would be riddled with controversy as well if it did come out, but I would still love to see a Bully 2 come out, don't get me wrong. But Max Payne 4, LA Noire 2, I think those are definitely things that are in the very early stages, but I think GTA 6 is they're all hands on deck right now to make that as good as it possibly can be. So that's where we are, guys, at this point. GTA 6, I believe, is definitely in development. We have everything as far as leaks, rumors, rumblings, coming from, a number of the development team, but also just coming from, the community at large. So I think we're definitely going to be getting a GTA 6 at some point in the future. But when that could be, it could be a number of years away. But it would be asinine for, obviously for Rockstar not to be working on GTA 6. This is their most popular franchise. When you think of Rockstar, you think of Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead, maybe Max Payne, Bully. But the top of that list is GTA. So they're definitely working on it, guys. But it may be through, maybe it's going through development hell right now. Maybe there's just creative differences within that team of the direction they should go in. They want to make it perfect. They've got a lot of living up to do because GTA 5 was so critically acclaimed. So how can they top that? And that's why it might be still years away. But let me know, what do you guys think? Where do you think GTA 6 is at this current point in time in its development? Where do you think it is? Do you think it's actually in a limbo state, a state of no return, a problem state, development hell? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more GTA 6 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Dead Space is back, and with that, guys, you know that this is one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. Talk a lot about Dead Space and the future of this franchise. We've been trying to echo this game into existence, and now it's coming, guys. You can check out all of my Dead Space content here on the YouTube channel. I'll have a lot more of it for you here in the future. But with that, guys, I want to talk about Motive, the team behind the upcoming Dead Space revival, the comeback that we've been waiting for so long. Motive, of course, guys, is the team that worked on none other than Star Wars Squadrons. And that was a title that was met with, a lot of people were really curious about it, but it was met with a lot of acclamation and people very excited about it, and people love that title. And so now Motive is switching gears from that Star Wars universe over to Dead Space, which has, some similarities, but certainly a lot of differences, going from an action title to a horror title. How is that going to translate? And could this be kind of like a Bungie kind of transferring, everything over to 343 Industries with Halo, and then obviously 343 had a real hard time trying to kind of get everything under their feet, and it took a title in order to try to get them into a really good place, and we'll see how Halo Infinite goes, but it was met with a lot of criticism. A lot of pressure is put on Motive, to say the least, to really knock Dead Space out of the park. But with that, I want to talk about Motive. Can they bring Dead Space back to the top of horror? Let's talk about it. In a tweet, guys, coming from Motive Studio, made by the fans for the fans, meet our team of passionate and driven developers, arguably a little unhinged, who are rebuilding Dead Space from the ground up. And this leads us to an article, guys, on EA's website. Learn how inspiration, innovation, and collaboration are bringing the beloved game back to life. In order to get sense of what's going on going into this project, we talked to senior producer Philip Ducharme, creative director Roman Camposorio, and art director Mike Yazagin, and it quickly became clear that this remake is a passion project for everyone. So by fans for fans. Take, for example, Roman's 4-word response when we asked what brought him to Motive. The words Dead Space. This is clearly a team that's in love with the source material, and it shows in every facet of the project. So saying that is just like, it's like music to my ears, guys. I'm so excited to hear that these guys are just so passionate about Dead Space. It's absolutely awesome. So That being said, Philip tells a similar story. After several conversations with VP and General Manager Patrick Claus, he finally learned that a remake of Dead Space was the project he was actually being recruited for. At that point, it was like, well, where do I sign, Philip says, because that's definitely compelling. So I was the first person officially assigned to Dead Space and started preparing the project for the awesome team that moved from Star Wars Squadrons to form the Dead Space team. Honoring the legacy, guys, is so huge. So let's talk about what this new iteration of Dead Space is and what it isn't. First of all, this isn't a reboot. That is, it's not a wholesale reimagining of the franchise, but it also isn't a remaster, which is mainly a higher resolution, faster running version of the exact same game. Instead, it's a remake, rebuilding everything from the ground up in a new engine while keeping and being respectful of what made the original so special. It's being fully rebuilt in Frostbite, Roman says, with all new assets, new character models, new environments. Even though we're basing those on the original designs, there are new parts, new props, new collision models, and so on. We're rebuilding everything from scratch, but we're keeping the same story and the same structure. So that's absolutely awesome. My big thing, though, guys, is I'm hoping that they do this in the way where it's like this, this remake that's rebuilding everything from the ground up in a new engine, but can they add other things to it? Multiplayer, co-op, other things that were going to bring us back to the title over and over again. That's where I'm really, really hopeful and excited about. So, the objective that we gave to the whole team was to have players pick up the controller and completely lose track of time, Philip continues, like they play through the entire experience without putting the controller down. That's how immersive we want our game to be, that people just dive in and don't come out until the credits roll. And what makes me concerned about it is, like, you want people to be there so immersed, but then after you beat the game, what? Are you going to play the game over again? Is there going to be other ways that we can connect? Those are the big questions that I would have for this development team. Are we going to have multiplayer and things of that nature? So the main source of inspiration, Mike says, is the original version and original vision for Dead Space. We make sure we're following the story, the art direction, everything out of respect for the original game. We are taking the opportunity to also do away with some things that don't work and make sure the game stays relevant to modern audiences, but even that has to be done surgically. To that end, the team has been seeking fan feedback almost from the beginning. We started sharing things with some of our biggest fans and asking for feedback just 2 months into working on the game, says Roman. We want to treat the franchise with great care and respect, so we want to make sure the things we're doing are hitting home with our community, which is absolutely awesome. So, interesting thing about these conversations and discussion with each of these team leaders, things always seem to circle back to the working culture here at Motive. Philip, for example, highlights the strong sense of teamwork that runs through every step of the process. We have a team that's able to talk honestly and transparently, he says, that respects everyone's opinions and values, and that reinforces that community to make something together to achieve better results. There may be challenges, but we come together as a group to fix those challenges. We work together to make sure everyone is part of the solution. So, and now I'm so excited, he says, this project means so much to me. I can't wait to share so much more. So that's absolutely awesome. What's also really cool is, want to add your own voice to this team. We're always looking for forward-thinking minds to be a part of our journey. Visit our careers page for more information. Absolutely awesome. Guys, this is going to be something special. I just have the feeling that even though it's not a remaster, which I think is great that it's not a remaster, I think they should remaster the original 3 games, but I think that this needs to be its own thing. Even though it's taken a lot of inspiration from the original Dead Space, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of differences as well. There will be similarities, but differences, and that's really important. My big thing, though, is, are there going to be free-to-play elements? Is there going to be a full package? Are we going to be able to connect with this game outside of just the single-player story? I'm so excited about it. What do you guys think, though, about Motive taking the helm here to try to bring Dead Space back to the throne of the horror genre? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Dead Space content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. God of War Ragnarok is the upcoming title in the God of War franchise being brought to us from Santa Monica Studio. And I want to talk about everything that we know now about this title, guys. We've talked about God of War and this future of this franchise moving forward. You guys can check out all of my God of War content here on the YouTube channel. But I want to talk about this untitled God of War sequel, codenamed Ragnarok. And I want to talk about everything that we know about it. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So with that being said, guys, according to the God of War sequel official Wikipedia page, Ragnarok is an action-adventure game currently in development by Santa Monica Studio and will be published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. It is scheduled to be released in 2022 for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It will be the 9th installment in the God of War series, the 9th chronologically, and the sequel to 2018's God of War. Loosely based on Norse mythology, the game will be set in ancient Norway and features series protagonist Kratos and his young son Atreus. The game is expected to initiate Ragnarok, a series of events that bring about the end of days and depicts the deaths of the Norse gods, which was foretold to happen in the previous game after Kratos killed Aesir god Baldur. With that being said, guys, obviously the official title during Sony's May 2021 investment filing, they included a title treatment to the game which stated the title is God of War Ragnarok. Although the investment filing was later changed to state only God of War, a report found that the logo used in the filing was unofficial and fan-made. Following, the various media outlets were uncertain of the legitimacy of the title of the game. In a statement to IGN, a representative from Sony stated that the game's logo and title were not yet finalized or official, and that the inclusion of the false logo in the investment filing was an error. So that being said, in an article written by Vic Hood and Henry St. Leger of Tech Radar, God of War Ragnarok has been delayed. So first of all, the title. I love the title. God of War Ragnarok I think is a great title. I think they should stick with it, or something that sounds pretty, awesome, kind of like that. But that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually changed the title from Ragnarok, just because Sony Santa Monica, I feel that they might want to, keep it to itself. And obviously they want to kind of give us a little bit of a twist where everyone thinks it's called Ragnarok, but it's actually, they name it something else, and that was just a code name. But I think God of War Ragnarok makes a lot of sense. I think that there's a lot of hype around that title. So that being said, I think maybe they'll just keep that title at the end of the day. God of War Ragnarok is on its way, and the latest news from Sony suggests it'll land on both the PS5 and PS4 sometime in 2022. Sony first unveiled a teaser for the God of War sequel at the end of its PlayStation 5 showcase back in September 2020. This teaser confirmed what we were all hoping for, a return of Kratos and his son. Although we might have longer to wait for the release, we've got high hopes for a God of War Ragnarok trailer soon. It's rumored that the official trailer might debut as part of the future Sony State of Play presentation showcasing upcoming PS5 titles in August of 2021, which would be absolutely awesome. The good news is we know that it is coming, and it could be called Ragnarok. That is the name for a cataclysmic series of events in Norse mythology, which would be fitting for a game where you're almost certainly going to be wreaking havoc and battling with Norse gods. So apparently, guys, obviously that this title, the big question is the release date, and there's a lot of rumor that it's going to be 2022. My thought is, take that date with a pinch of salt, or that year as a pinch of salt, just because of the pandemic and everything going on. It very well may have delayed things, so there's a possibility that it could be 2023, but let's hope, fingers crossed, it stays at 2022. So there was already speculation that Ragnarok could be delayed, given that Sony hadn't mentioned the sequel in its plans for 2021 since the game's announcement. Sony Santa Monica Studio confirmed the delay in June of 2021, releasing a statement on Twitter. It's unclear when in 2022 we can expect God of War Ragnarok, but we're hoping Sony gives us an update sometime later this year. So that being said, the God of War Ragnarok trailer dropped right at the end of Sony's live stream event in September 2020 and shows off a brief logo and the words Ragnarok is coming. It's the only trailer we've seen for the game to date. So with that being said, Sony has announced its next State of Play will take place. Obviously, there's going to be one in August, which is pretty exciting. A small ray of hope comes at the close of the post as while God of War and other titles won't be a part of the live stream, and says stay tuned throughout the summer though, as we'll have more updates soon. And so hopefully August is the date. It'll launch when it's done, says the creative director, following the absence of an update on God of War Ragnarok during PlayStation's February 2021 State of Play. Santa Monica Studios creative director Cory Barlog appears to have posted a tweet in response to those asking for an update on the game. I don't know who needs to hear this, certainly not me, since I have never heard of it, but when it's done, trust that it's what's best for everyone. So very interesting tweet that he put out. When it's done, it's done. Barlog tweet doesn't directly mention God of War Ragnarok, but it seems likely that's what he's referring to. The game still has a fairly wide release window of 2021, but there have been rumors that it might be looking at a delay, and this tweet doesn't exactly clear them up. What's awesome, though, is that this title is going to be coming to PlayStation 4 as well. So you don't have to necessarily have the PS5, and we know how hard it is to get a PS5 now, or paying astronomical prices for it. Same thing with the Xbox Series X. So it's awesome that you'll be able to get be able to play it on PS4 or PS5. God of War Ragnarok was briefly teased at the end of the PS5 showcase event on September 16, 2020, where Sony also announced the price and release date of the next-gen PS5 console. A lot of job listings, guys. They're talking about there's not going to be any God of War DLC, which was promised, which does upset me a little bit. God of War director Cory Barlog had said there were originally plans for DLC for the 2018 reboot, but said they were halted for being too ambitious. That means the studio can invest resources into an entirely new game as opposed to post-launch content. Which is still, they promise something, and when you promise something, you should go through with it, right? And I feel that God of War, after beating that game, you moved on to other games, right? If there would have been some DLC and such, it would have brought you back to that experience. And that's why I'm hoping that God of War Ragnarok, or whatever this title is going to be called, it has more ways that we can connect with the title outside of the single-player story. That being said, at the end of God of War, we found out that Kratos' wife, Faye, was actually a giant called Laufey. That means Atreus is half god and half giant, and what's more, he has a different name altogether, Loki. You know Loki, the trickster in Norse mythology. Hopefully God of War Ragnarok will explore this further, and we'll find out more about Faye's secret past, as well as why she kept it all a secret in the first place. We're also hoping Atreus will embrace the shape-shifting abilities that Loki is notorious for, instead of simply standing on the sidelines, firing arrows at enemies. And Atreus isn't a boy anymore. The God of War sequel may continue on directly from the events of the previous game. However, we think it would be more interesting to see how a teenage Atreus and grumpy dad Kratos fare on an adventure. And I agree with that 100%. Now, like I said, guys, I'm very excited for this title, don't get me wrong. Extremely excited for it. I think it's got a lot of promise to it. I just really want to see more ways that we can connect with the game after you beat the single-player story. And there's nothing wrong with having just a single-player story, because single-player stories a lot of times sell very well. But in today's day and age, when it comes to gaming, I feel that having a full package is really, really important for obtaining and continuing to keep that fan base together. Whereas after beating a title, you don't move on to other games. You stay with that title, playing co-op with your friends, playing multiplayer, whether it's PvP or PvE elements where you go up against waves and waves of enemies. Whatever the case might be, I just hope that they continue innovating with the God of War franchise. But with that being said, guys, that's what we know so far about this title, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about God of War Ragnarok? Let me know, and for more God of War Ragnarok content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. You guys know that Gears of War is one of my favorite titles of all time, and with that, guys, I've wanted to see the continuation and evolution of this franchise moving forward, and one of those big ways that we've talked a lot about on the YouTube channel, you guys can check out all of my Gears of War content here, but that being said, I think that there's ways that they can evolve the franchise, and one of those ways that I believe the Coalition and Microsoft can continue evolving it is through BR. Battle Royale for Gears of War I think would be great, right? And there's a lot of talk about this and within the community of what that could look like and the possibility of it. I want to talk about everything that we would want out of a Gears BR, guys, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about this and all the things that you would want out of a Gears BR? So let's get into it. For me, guys, there's 5 things that really are important to me for a Gears Battle Royale title, and at number 1 for me, I just want the game to come out, and I want this game mode to come out. I think it's really important that Gears continues to evolve as a franchise. It's never been as big as titles like Call of Duty and Battlefield and Fortnite and all these other titles that are coming out. So I think there's ways that it needs to evolve, right? We see Call of Duty continuing to innovate, continuing to try to stay on top, coming out with a new game year over year, but also having free-to-play elements. You know, having Warzone is absolutely huge. It's the biggest BR in the world at this point in time. And so I think a BR is just a sign of the change of gaming, or it's just a great mode that people love to play. And so Gears of War, why not have it? So just come out with the title. Number 2 for me is I want this game to be free to play, and this game mode to be free to play. I think having free to play elements are great, but Battle Royale should be free. When we look at the grand landscape and you see Fortnite, Call of Duty, all these different titles that are free to play and they're Battle Royale modes, I think Gears of War has got to kind of follow that and be free to play so people at least try it out. You have some of the biggest streamers in the world try it out, and that really helps build the fan base for the future. Number 3 for me is I think that the Gears Battle Royale mode should be announced alongside Gears of War 6 or Gears 6. Gears 6 is obviously reportedly in development at this point in time, and obviously Rod Ferguson, the studio head at the Coalition before he left to go to Blizzard, he stated that Gears 6, Gears 7, as well as a Gears of War movie were all going to be in development and had been confirmed that they were going to be coming out at some point in the foreseeable future. That being said, I would love to see BR for Gears of War announced alongside Gears 6, and when Gears 6 releases, so does the Gears BR. I think that would be absolutely awesome. At number 4, I'd love to see Gears of War, take what it's done. It's done such a good job of creating new modes and things of that nature, and being itself with BR, not trying to copy the trends of what Call of Duty's doing, Fortnite's doing, and so on and so forth. I think that it needs to be its own BR where the creativity can just run rampant and wild, guys, for the Coalition and Microsoft, coming up with really cool ideas, like different ways when you are on the map. There's like, you go up against waves and waves of enemies at certain points, kind of like Horde mode, and then you're fighting against other, individuals on the map. Having so much that you could do where the map evolves over time, but it's itself. It's not going to try to copy some of the trends that some of these other BRs are doing. Be yourself. And at number 5, I want to see a lot of variety here for this Gears BR experience. I want there to be a variety of weapons, characters, enemies, and even locations and such. Some of the really awesome locations from the older Gears of War maps and titles and such. I would love to see it, a culmination of everything that we love about Gears on one map that can certainly evolve with time. But I just think that having a variety of what you can do, customization features and things of that nature, having free-to-play elements so that microtransactions are justified, right? Having the, BR be free-to-play, that everyone can play it, and having those microtransactions or having different customization options would be absolutely awesome for this title. But those are the 5 things I really want to see out of a Gears BR title, guys. I believe that we should get it. I think we have to voice it into existence, though, because it's hard to say whether the Coalition's working on it or not at this point in time to maybe release alongside Gears 6. So if you want a Gears BR, voicing your opinion on Twitter to the developers is going to be really, really important. But let me know, guys, in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about a Gears Battle Royale title? Let me know. And for more Gears BR content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. The Last of Us 2 is one of my favorite horror titles of all time. One of my favorite horror franchises of all time, guys. Absolutely love The Last of Us and everything that this game has brought us up to this point in time. Can't wait for the continuation of it and what the future of The Last of Us looks like. But with that being said, I want to talk about The Last of Us 2 DLC and the expansions that have been reported and the rumblings and the speculation going around it. And I want to talk about everything that we know so far about The Last of Us 2, expansion, multiplayer, all of those different things. And I want to talk about it here, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So in an article, guys, written by Ali Jones of Games Radar, I believe at one point they were thinking about DLC. The Last of Us 2 DLC was reportedly in the works, but the project never fully materialized, according to Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier. Speaking on the MinMax show, Schreier discussed the projects that Naughty Dog staff are working on while they wait for the studio's next major project to leave pre-production. Some of them are working on a multiplayer project understood to be The Last of Us 2 multiplayer, while others have reportedly been moved to help with The Last of Us PS5 remake. According to Schreier, however, there are currently no plans to expand on The Last of Us 2. I believe at one point Naughty Dog was thinking about DLC, but I don't think that happened. It's not clear what stage of production the additional content may have been in, and Schreier does say that the studio may still do something, but it sounds as though the project has been shelved, at least for now, which is really, really unfortunate, at least to me, guys. Because I think that a expansion DLC would be really huge for The Last of Us Part 2. Now, obviously, multiplayer is massive, and I think that's actually even more important than an expansion. But I think an expansion obviously expands upon the legacy, the lore story of The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, and I think that would be great. It would be awesome, though, for a multiplayer experience. I think, having factions come back, whatever the case might be, that is something that I think should be at the forefront. And then, obviously, a DLC, though, should certainly be somewhere along those same lines, if you ask me. And it sounds like it's been shelved, at least for now. Now, could it come back? Absolutely. I think that it's certainly something that could come back at some point in the future. Schreier himself says that there's plenty of opportunity for Naughty Dog to change its mind. Although almost a year on from release, the potential window for add-on content could be closing. Either way, it's worth remembering that this is far from an official announcement, and in lieu of word from Naughty Dog or Sony, the success of The Last of Us means that anything is possible. And I 100% agree with that, because The Last of Us Part 2 did absolutely incredible when it came to sales and things of that nature. So, that being said, guys, obviously, multiplayer, I think, is at the forefront. They're definitely looking at, okay, what do we have to do to continue moving forward when it comes to, the multiplayer experience. But the DLC is maybe put on the back shelf for right now, but could it come back at some point? Absolutely. Could they be working on The Last of Us Part 3 as we speak? That could be possible as well. I want to see The Last of Us Online, though. That's definitely something I want to see, a, sustainable online multiplayer experience where you can get on there, have a lot of customization features. I'd love it to be free to play. I think that would be awesome to bring people back, because obviously, when The Last of Us Part 2 came out, we didn't have multiplayer at the time, and after you beat the title, you might move on to other games, right? So that being said, I think a DLC makes a lot of sense, but multiplayer even makes more sense, at least to me. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you concerned about a DLC never coming out for The Last of Us? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more The Last of Us 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.